The profound news is that being is effortless. Being requires absolutely no maintenance via a thinking intellect or through some activity of the body in order for it to be. Being by itself, of its own intrinsic nature, is. And that isness is timelessly what it is. It does not require an elapsing of time in order for it to be. Being is. And it is effortlessly itself. And now, if we're hearing this and it doesn't immediately resonate in the depths of our lived experience now, we may imagine that what is being uttered is some abstract, intellectualized philosophy about the nature of being. So, to those who think this way, I would indicate that right now there is a presence that is hearing these words, an undoubtable presence that is aware. If you were not present and aware of these words, you would not perceive the words. The words depend on your presence being here and aware. So that presence, by nature, that you are, has the intrinsic attribute of being. It is. We cannot say, I am not, or I am not present. For to do so is to confirm that I am already present to say such a thing. So being that you are present, and there is the attribute of being intrinsic to yourself. The question I would ask is, can you remove this attribute of being from yourself? And try as we might, we cannot remove this attribute of being from ourself. Ourself, this awareness, aware of these words now, is by nature being. So now I would ask you, does being, this being that you are, require any effort to be? Or is it simply just being? And if we look, we can see that just being, our being, doesn't require any effort. We are. So the being that I refer to as the totality of being is not separate from this very being that we refer to when we say, I am being. There is only one presence of being. Whatever we refer to, the landscape, the sound, the sensations of the body, any kind of mystical vision or psychedelic trip, we are referring to an experience that has an attribute to it, which is being, or there is a presence to it. And if we look substantially at the very essence of the experience of a thought, of a landscape, of a cosmic, interdimensional entity, all we find substantially there is being. We only find being. And if we look to I, what I is, to find out who is it that is having the experience of there only being one substance of being, It is this being. This being is looking at itself, experiencing itself. So, having understood this, not as an abstraction or a belief, for understanding truly, when it refers to experience, is never about a belief or an abstraction. It is about a lived experience. Then we have understood that we are this being. We have directly experienced that we are this being. Now, it's not some past event, although thought may conceptualize that a past event has occurred in which there was a glimpse of the nature of reality. What is evident is that the true nature of reality is now. It is the being that we refer to when we say there is being now. And that is an experience. It's not some theory or abstract philosophy. It is the direct experience now. So, in understanding these words and confirming them in the immediacy of our experience, that everything that we perceive is made of being, one being, we are experiencing perfect non-duality. What is meant by enlightenment, moksha, satori, samadhi is being experienced now. That is the fundamental reality of being, that there is only one of that, and I am that. If we try to remove I from being, we find we cannot. We cannot separate I, we cannot separate awareness from the very substance of being. We only find being. So how does this resonate in our lived daily experience? Well, as I mentioned in the beginning, being experientially is effortless. Our being is effortless and timeless. So the very substance of everything that appears, this hand, this face, this sound, this landscape, is effortless. So the creation of everything, of a galaxy, a sun, the entire universe, this body, the healing of this body, the thoughts that arise, the desires that manifest, is effortless. Creation is effortless. And just as if we were to take a thought now, the image of a circle, we can see that such a thought arises utterly spontaneously and without any effort. It just happens of its own accord. And that is how everything that exists, or arises, or is created. It emerges spontaneously and effortlessly, even if we exert this body by going on a run. There are some intense sensations that correspond to that running of the body. And yet, all the while, the very substance of the running, all of the sensations, the movements, is this effortless presence of being that we are. So we can experience that the running of the body is effortless, even though there is a phenomenal effort exerted and there are sensations that correspond to this sense of a relative effort. Underneath that, there is the feeling understanding that the very substance of the running is effortless. That the effortlessness of being is assuming the form of the effort of running. So in this way, we don't identify ourselves exclusively within the locale of the body or of sensations and believe that effort is fundamental to our being. So we experience that effortlessness is the base reality, and that within this effortlessness arises effort. We don't believe that effort to exist, to live, to be is our base reality. And what does that do when we understand that on the level of our sensory experience? There is a gentle relaxation of any stresses that are unnecessary and not useful. For now, we feel ourselves to not be limited by effort. So we don't need to maintain effort in order to exist. If we believe that we are bound by effort, if we are an effort, then we will try to continue the effort that we believe we are in order to continue existing. There is a survival instinct that kicks in, which perpetuates the effort and the stress to maintain our life or existence because we have believed that our self-awareness is localized within the body or within the mind, which by nature is a kind of dynamism and an effort. So we believe we are an effort, and so to continue existing, we need to maintain the effort. If we cease the effort, we will die. That is the subliminal belief. But if we recognize what has been understood here, what has been shared here, that being, our being, the only being that is effortless, then all the unnecessary and not useful efforts that amalgamate in the mind or in the body can diminish and relax and disappear because we recognize that our identity is not dependent upon them, nor the smoothness, ease, and peace of our functioning on a human level. Our human functioning can continue, but now it's imbued with a sense of easefulness, a sense of the effortlessness, which is the very background of our being. So the invitation again is simply to allow this relaxation, which is the Tao, which is grace, flowing through our body and mind to be in charge. It already is in charge, but we believe that it is not in charge. We believe instead that effort is necessary in some areas. So if we believe that, we just let go of that belief by understanding what is clear here, clearly shared here, and allow that relaxation of the Tao to take care of those residues in the body and the mind that create unnecessary stress. And then we experience ourselves established as perfect peace, not as a feeling tone or sensational peace, but as the peace of infinite eternal being, taking the form of the body.